Now, there's something that I've noticed, and I find this really fascinating. You can have all the strategy in the world, but if you don't have energetic alignment and your creative life force energy is not turned on, no amount of strategy is actually going to solve your sales problem. Because when your energy is off, you are not energetically aligned with what you're calling in. Your nervous system stays in contraction, you start to second guess, you shrink, and you can't actually receive the wealth, the sales, the clients, and the impact that you know you're destined for. And that's exactly what the creative frequency fixes. It's somatic work, breath work, journaling, meditation, activations, daily recalibration so your energy matches your ambition. So stop blocking what you're already trying to come to. Previously, I've only offered the creative frequency as a bonus for the Wealthy Creative Society, but I'm now offering it as a standalone product. So you can jump in right now during my birthday season, and you're welcome in advance because your life will be forever changed. You're going to listen to these every day. So head on over to tracymatthews.com/frequency and check out this offer right now. It is going to change the game for you. You were born to create, but you weren't born to play small. Welcome to Creatives Rule the World, the podcast for visionaries, entrepreneurs, artists, designers, makers, and founders who are ready to grow a business that feels as good as it looks. I'm your host, Tracy Matthews, and around here we talk about building brands that matter, turning your creativity into real wealth, and having fun while doing it. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Creatives Rule the World. Hey there, it's Tracy Matthews coming in live from Austin. I'll actually be in Arizona for my birthday this week when this audio goes live. I'm only doing an audio episode this week. I'll probably create some sort of video. So I wanted to do something special for my birthday this year. And one of the things that I've been getting really curious about, because I have seen so many people going through a hard season. I have to say, honestly, I've been through a hard season, and I'll be sharing a little bit more about my journey and what's been going on in my life in some coming episodes. Let's just say the world is shaking things up right now. And if you feel like you are someone who is so excited for this wild horse year or fire horse year, I keep calling it wild horse, the fire horse year, and you feel like you're being dragged by the stirrups, well, I want you to know that you're not alone and that things can be a little bit crazy. And so what I've really been playing around with, it's my birthday season. I'm a Gemini, but right on the cusp of Taurus and Gemini. I'm literally born within 6 minutes of Gemini. So I just came out of Taurus into Gemini. So I have a strong pull towards both signs, which is interesting because I have built my career as an artist, and Taurus is a sign of beauty and adornment and beautiful things and experiences and travel, like all of that. And Gemini is quick-witted and thinking, and this is where curiosity comes in. And so today on the podcast, I'm doing something that I don't normally do, and I'm going to be experimenting a lot this summer with things that I don't normally do on this podcast, primarily because I am in a huge transition, and I'm in serious creation mode in my life. And so in certain ways, I am scaling my engagements back a little bit. And then in other ways, I am finding more room for play and expansion. And one of the ways that I have done that I find super valuable to people in our community and beyond is this idea of bringing in simple, easy to digest ways to shift your reality, shift your energy, shift your experience so that you can manifest the things that you actually want in your life. And these are all practices that I've been working on in my own life. And so I pulled an audio from my Wealthy Creative program and the Creative Frequency. These are two of my incredible creative passion projects, which are shifting the field for so many artists out there. Artists, creatives, founders, whatever you call yourself. Creatives, there we go. And I love this so much because the creative frequency, the idea behind it is that when we are working with our energy and we are resonating at a higher frequency, well, guess what? We start attracting and calling in the things that we desire in our life. More abundance, more wealth, more money, more happiness, more joy, more experiences, all the things that we're supposed to be experiencing in life, but for some reason, our subconscious mind likes to keep us away from it. So this series of audios that I've created in the Creative Frequency are daily practices that include somatic work like breath work, journaling practices, meditations, subliminal messaging, rewiring and programming of your brain, all in this one little bundle. And this is one of the trainings that I just recorded for it. And it is all about training your brain to be curious, to snap you out of your old ways of being, your old mindset, so that you can start manifesting and be curious about what's next. So this is pulled directly from the Creative Frequency. If you want to learn more about that or the Wealthy Creative, I'm going to have links in the show notes. So definitely check that out. They are both incredible offers. And if you pay in full and join the Wealthy Creative, guess what? You actually get the Creative Frequency as a bonus. So it's just awesome. And today we're going to be talking about how to train your brain to be curious instead of in scarcity, which is super fun. So let's dive into this episode and listen in. Okay, so one of the fastest ways to trick your mind into manifesting what it is that you want is by acting curious or being in a space of curiosity. So I saw a TikTok video a couple years ago, and they talked about the idea of askfirmations. Instead of affirmations, askfirmations, like asking the universe why things are so easy or how it could be so easy, or assuming that it's just so easy to call in the things that you desire in your life. And so this is a really powerful practice in understanding, okay, how can I trick my brain into becoming curious about what it is exactly that I want to create and curate in my life? And so these are called askfirmations. And so the best way to do this, I'm going to give you a couple of examples so you can see what this looks like. This practice, it's going to be a partial journaling practice for you to do some work. And if you already have askfirmations or affirmations, I should say, that you say to yourself, you can turn them into a question, like I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to give you a couple of examples though. Why is it so easy to reach my goals? Why is it so easy for me to receive abundant income and continue to grow my wealth every single day? Why is it so easy to show up on camera and do my social media content? Why is it so easy to multiply my money? Why is it so easy to invest in myself and know that investment and see that investment coming back right away? Why is it that the more fun I have, the more money I make? Why is my business and building my business so fun and enjoyable every single day? Why is it so easy for me to walk up to strangers and talk about my work? Why is it so easy to stay consistent with my content and show up every single day? Why is it so easy to feel so confident about my email marketing strategy? Why is it so easy to always be excited to learn new things? Why is it so easy to reach out to customers from a place of service? Why is it so easy for me to show up for my business? Why is it so easy to put myself out there? There is an actual real neurological and psychological basis for why curiosity works better than trying to force an affirmation. Because when you're trying to create change or notice opportunities or shift your identity, a lot of manifestation language can get kind of vague really fast. And underneath it, there is a mechanism that's very real. And this creates attention. It creates emotional regulation. It starts to develop a new belief. And that belief starts to help you recognize patterns. And that those patterns create behavior change and affect your nervous system state. Curiosity changes all of those things. And here's what's happening. Your brain is filtering reality based on what it thinks it matters. So we take in an absurd, our brains do, absurd amount of information every single second of the day. But consciously, we're processing very little. One of the systems that is involved is our RAS, or Reticular Activating System. And its job is to basically understand, what should I pay attention to? So when you repeatedly ask yourself questions like, what opportunities am I not seeing? What would the version of me making $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year or whatever it is, 10K a month, 20K a month, notice that's different than now. What do I need to become, or who do I need to become in order to attract this? What if this is already unfolding for me? Your brain starts scanning for evidence or patterns or people, opportunities connected to these questions. And this is more selective. So if you're operating out of your subconscious identity and the subconscious part of the RAS is taking over, it's also scanning for the opposite. So I'm not going to go deep into this because we have other things inside the creative frequency that talk about this. But, we all have stories from childhood that we have created in our minds. We've made meaning to situations that have happened to us in our lives that we believe are factual, but are basically our version of the facts of what happened. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to say because you're like, that actually happened to me. And that's just our memory of what happened. But there's a reason why two people can experience the same thing and have a very different response. Like when I talk to my siblings about our childhood, and I tell my younger siblings, like, mom wasn't really around and I had to take care of you. They're like, no, you didn't. But I clearly remember that I did, that I was driving them around and taking them to soccer practice and making them dinner while she was going on dates and meeting new people. They have a different story of that and a different remembrance. And it's not that either version of those stories are wrong. It's just the perspective. And so what we're trying to do is shift our perspective so that we can open ourselves up to different possibilities. This other part of this is that curiosity lowers our nervous system resistance. So if we're telling something, our brain, something that, the subconscious doesn't believe is true, it creates pressure, and that pressure creates resistance, and that resistance sometimes creates like a nervous system response, right? And that pressure signals threat, and we start to obsess, like, why isn't this working? Or I know this isn't working. We start to drop into a fear state. I needed this now, like this is never gonna work. And we start going down a spiral, right? And so we start moving into hypervigilance instead of into an expansive mode with the mind. And instead of being in a space where you're trying to control the outcome, you move into a space of, oh, I wonder how this could unfold for me. And that subtle shift matters because the brain performs better in exploratory states than being in survival mode. So if you can open it up to explore opportunities in different ways that it could potentially be true, well, guess what? Then you're opening up your brain to the possibility that your manifestations are coming in. And then when you ask questions, you step into natural curiosity, and this bypasses the resistance of your current identity. So if you've done anything with identity work, we've done a little bit here, you know that we have a belief system based around what we believe our reality is now. And at every time that we're hitting the next level in our life and in our identity, we're shifting into someone who can hold more, receive more, step into something bigger. Because someone who is like living, a homeless person is not going to have the same identity as someone who is a multimillionaire living in a high rise. And I'm looking out the window as I'm here in Austin at these high-rise buildings, like the penthouses, that are $15,000, $20,000 a month. The person who's living on the street is not going to have the same identity as someone who's able to invest that kind of money in a penthouse apartment, right? So this is where we get to step into creating more security or belief around who we are from an identity perspective. So for instance, like if you're telling yourself, I am wildly wealthy, and you have $0 in your bank account, your body is going to create resistance around that, and your brain's going to backfire and say, no, I don't. No, I'm not. And this starts to create an internal conflict that there's a lack of belief. So instead of forcing the belief, you can start asking yourself questions like, what would it feel like to be in financial overflow? Why do opportunities keep opening up for me lately? How is it that my speaking career is expanding so quickly? So these are questions I would be asking myself, right? The brain naturally wants to solve those problems. And when you have unanswered questions, guess what? We start to create cognitive closure, and we can start to solve the problem instead of reject the desire. Does that make sense? So if you feel like you're fighting yourself when it comes to creating affirmations for yourself, etc., and you're lacking that congruence because like what's in your current reality isn't here yet, questions can create movement without triggering the same internal defense mechanisms that our subconscious mind wants to bring forward. And then curiosity also activates dopamine. Dopamine is the reward chemical. It's why we are all addicted to social media sometimes and why we probably shouldn't be looking at our phones all the time. And it's heavily tied to creating anticipation, motivation, the pursuit of what it is that we desire, new learning, having novelty. Curiosity increases dopamine activity because the brain loves unresolved possibility. And that matters because dopamine increases motivation, focus, behavioral persistence, an optimism towards future outcomes, and a belief that what you desire is actually possible for you. So people trying to manifest from a place of desperation often feel depleted emotionally and neurologically, and creating that sense of curiosity actually energizes the pursuit instead of creating like an emotional dissonance or disconnect. And this is why it feels so much more fun and lighter, because you're just asking yourself questions like, why is it so easy to land 10 new wholesale accounts every single month or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Why is it so easy to have new clients flooding into my inbox every single day? How come it is so crazy that I'm getting new sales every single hour and I currently now have, $1,000 a day in sales coming into my bank account? Like whatever that is for you. Obviously, you can make your own up. And then curiosity also shifts you from a place of attachment to feeling more in a space of participation. This is where manifestation conversations often get distorted. So you're trying to force an outcome, meaning you're trying to control it, you're over monitoring, you're like attached to the how. This is like a huge thing in manifestation. Like if you're super attached to how it comes in, guess what? Like it's not going to come in that way. And you're needing proof before it actually comes in. So this creates a lot of rigidity inside, and curiosity creates participation. It creates like the energetic alignment with the universe, and it becomes engaging with the reality of the situation instead of demanding certainty from it. And this changes how you speak, how you talk to people, how you network with people. You'll also notice that your timing's different and you start taking more risks. You're able to interpret setbacks more and not let them derail you. And then it also allows you to recover emotionally because you're showing up in this space of curiosity. And naturally curious people have a tendency to be higher risk takers. They experiment more. They notice more. They recover faster. They stay emotionally available. They remain open to a nonlinear path to getting something. They tolerate uncertainty better, and they create different results over time. So how can you be more curious? How can you be more curious? So from a manifestation perspective, curiosity always works because it keeps your nervous system open enough to perceive, receive, and act on whatever's coming to you. And this is a great way for you to actually ask questions and trust your intuition and let things drop in when you least expect it. And this is something that I feel like we glaze over a lot, right? We're not still enough. One of the practices I've been really, really working on over these past couple of months has been finding a little bit more stillness in my morning routine and finding a little bit more stillness in my practice where I can just listen, right? And, whatever time of day is best for you. I prefer the morning because it helps me set my day right. But if you have 5 minutes before bed, sit in silence or with some guided music. You can listen to one of the meditations inside of the creative frequency. I have some great subliminals. And if you don't know what a subliminal is, it's just a brain reprogramming subliminal that helps you tap into a state of abundance and overflow, et cetera, based on the topic of that overflow or of that subliminal. So you can listen to one of those and just ask for guidance. How is it so easy? What do I need to see? Show me the opportunities in front of me. What do I need to see about this situation? And so this is twofold. So we're talking a little bit about affirmations, but we're also talking about getting curious about what it is that we need and want in our life and desire. And so that curiosity is going to move us forward in a way that we least expect it. So here's your exercise for today. Depending on where you're listening to this, this is one of the many audios in my audio bundle called The Creative Frequency, which is a series of meditations, audios, somatic work, and brain rewiring and programming so that you can step in to your most highly creative and wealthiest self. So depending on where you're listening to this, I would love to invite you to download these incredible audio series that you can use for yourself in your own business to call in your truest desires. So here's the exercise today for this curiosity and askfirmation practice. What I want you to do is to write down a list of the things that you are calling into your life and business. So this could be a new home. This could be a new relationship. This could be a sales or financial number, whatever it is that you're calling in. This could be so many different things. This could be something for your family. Whatever it is, I want you to write down the list of the things that you truly desire. Like these are all your bucket list goals, the thing that you're trying to create. And then I want you to create an askfirmation around this. So this is going to be so fun for you. And then once you create that askfirmation, so here's what I want you to do. This is your exercise for today. I want you to write them down. I want you to read them out loud multiple times a day. And this is a ninja hack. You can record yourself doing this. It's easy to do if you have an iPhone, you can do it in your voice notes. If you have another type of smartphone, I'm sure there's some sort of voice recorder on your phone. And then just open up that voice note every day and listen to it. Repeat after yourself. Why is it so easy for me to sell $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $100,000 a month, whatever your number is? Why is it so easy for me to have the most abundant, loving relationships in my life? Why is it so easy to call in the partner of my dreams? Why is it so easy to manifest these dream vacations to Italy and Hawaii, whatever your dreams are, right? So continue to think what those things are for you and create your askfirmations around them and have some fun with this. This is all about being in a state of play. And one of my mentors said to me once, she said something like, fun leads to love. Fun leads to more abundance. Fun leads to everything that you want in your life. And as a 7 on the Enneagram, I'm all for this because fun leads to everything that you desire. So let's go have some fun because we deserve it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode today. This is part of my birthday series. I'm turning 55 this week, you guys. Can you believe that? And I have a little birthday gift for you. You're going to hear it in the intro and outro, depending on when you're listening to this. But I'll just say it here because you can grab it later. I had a program that I released earlier this year that was a paid program called The Breakthrough. And it was literally game-changing. And the idea behind it was that it was to support creatives, founders like you who really want more visibility and want to step out in front of the brand, have the courage to show up and show themselves, because we know in this day and age that founders who are the front facing in their brand and are more visible are the ones who are taking it home. They're raking it in. And I say that because no longer can we hide behind like faceless brands. This is all about you stepping up and showing your personality so that people can connect with you. So I've curated 3 visibility activations that are pulled straight from this paid program, and I'm giving them to you for free. And if you would like to download them, they are yours. I'm going to have a link in the show notes and my birthday gift to you. So make sure that you grab them today. All right, this is Tracy Matthews signing off. Until next time, thanks so much for listening to the show. Ciao for now.